The last concept we're going to take a look at right now is finding our equation in factored form. So when we look at our graph, to write something as factored form, we're looking for where are the x-intercepts, or the zeros. And we actually found those earlier. So we found that we had an x-intercept at 0 and at 2. So right here, at 0 and at 2. And to write our equation in factored form, we're going to use those values. So I'm going to say y equals, I'm going to leave a little space here and I'll tell you why in a moment. But the big things that we're focusing on with factored form is we're going to say x minus one of my x-intercepts, in this case 0, and x minus 2, my other x-intercept. So x minus 0, x minus 2. And I'm using those x-intercepts to write this equation. The reason I left that blank out front is just like in vertex form where we had to have the a, same thing here, we need to put an a out front. So my equation in vertex form is y equals 1 times x minus 0 times x minus 2. Does that clean up? Yeah, sure it does. You could write this as simply x times x minus 2 because the 1 kind of gets folded in. The x minus 0 is just x. You could clean that up. Next one here, we're writing our equation in factored form again. We need to look for our x-intercepts, our zeros. And in this case, we only see 1. This one is going to be tricky because even though there's only 1 there, we're still going to write this twice. So for example, y equals, I'll leave my little gap, we'll put our a in there in a moment, x minus 0 because our x-intercept is 0, and I'm going to write it again, x minus 0 again. Whenever we have the single point where the x-intercept, or where the parabola touches the x-axis, we're actually going to write it twice. So there's always going to be 2 factors when you write something in factored form. That's even true when you have a graph with no solutions. If you were to try to put it in factored form, it would still need 2 solutions. They're actually called imaginary solutions. You probably don't want to hear about that right now. But whenever we have exactly 1 real solution, we're going to write it twice. And then of course we put in our a value at the beginning there. Could we clean this up? Absolutely. X minus 0 is just x. X minus 0 is just x. So then we have negative 1/2 times x. And we could even clean that up and write it as negative 1/2 x squared. Now, every so often, if you don't have a lot of fancy stuff going on, you might find that your vertex form and your factored form turn out the same. Generally, whenever you have your graphs kind of spread around, that won't happen, but it's always a possibility. So again, factored form focuses on what are my x-intercepts or factors. Vertex form will focus on what is my vertex, and you can kind of see that by how these equations are written out.